I'm Tamara Holder, and this is Sports Court. Caitlyn Jenner received this year's Arthur Ashe Courage Award at the ESPYs last night, and today everybody has an opinion. Many are praising the former Olympian for speaking out about the transgender community, while others are still reeling about the decision to give her the award at all, arguing it should have gone to athletes like veteran and amputee Noah Galloway, or 19-year-old college basketball player Lauren Hill, who battled brain cancer. So joining me today to give his take is Howie Kurtz, host of Media Buzz on Fox News Channel. Welcome, Howard. How are you?
I'm doing great.
All right, what's your opinion? Everybody has one.
This was a shameless, almost desperate lunge for publicity by ESPN to get anybody to pay attention to its award show. I don't think we've ever talked about ESPYs before because nobody really cares. But if you bring Bruce/Caitlyn Jenner and put her in the spotlight, suddenly people are buzzing.
Why are you saying it's shameless if it worked? The numbers show that this is the highest ratings of all time for the ESPYs. So to your point, yeah, it's getting people to talk, but isn't that what show business and TV business is all about?
Getting numbers? Do you think that's the driving force in television? Yes, I would have to agree with that. But because the award seems so disconnected from anything that Caitlyn Jenner in her former life did in the sports world. In other words, it's not some sort of lifetime achievement, wow, 76 Olympics. It's showing courage. And because she is part of a new reality show and was on the cover of Vanity Fair, and is, you know, I respect what she did, and I'm not criticizing her personally, but she has milked this for whatever it is worth. I don't see the great courage involved in that.
But this is somebody, Bruce Jenner, formerly a man, who lived his whole life, or her whole life now, as somebody that she didn't identify with. So to actually come out, that's where the courage is. There are so many people, as she spoke about during her speech, that have committed suicide or have been beaten and killed. Isn't that where the courage is?
Well, you know, I give her credit for speaking out. At the same time, I guess, you know, because this was all kicked off in a carefully orchestrated media campaign with the Diane Sawyer sit down. And by the way, Diane Sawyer, ABC, which of course owns ESPN. I don't think those two things are unconnected. I guess you could say, sure, it's not an easy thing to talk about, but she has been so much a part of the limelight here that I think this benefits her as much as anything. And so, you know, yes, you could say it worked. It absolutely worked. I've seen a lot of television coverage of Caitlyn Jenner at the ESPN Awards, but for people who take that award to be something more about sports, it does seem like
calculated.
It wasn't really about that.
So I want to ask you about Bob Costas, who he's with NBC, and he's an analyst and a sports guy. He seems to be in your camp that this was some kind of ploy, or it wasn't. Caitlyn Jenner wasn't necessarily the person who should have gotten the award, for lack of a better word. So why do you think he came out and said that, number one? But also, why aren't more TV personalities in sports who disagree with it saying anything?
Well, on the first part, you know, Costas is also in the sports controversy business. He's a guy who speaks his mind and sometimes talks his way into trouble. But he also was not criticizing Caitlyn Jenner. He was criticizing ESPN for, in his view, kind of perverting the meaning of the award. As for other people not speaking out, I think this is a kind of a subject of maybe a little bit radioactive that a lot of people stay away from, even though they comment on everything under the sun, because the whole transgender movement, you know, is sort of hailed by the left, but it's controversial. A lot of people on the right have trouble accepting it.
You don't have to make everything so political. You don't have to make it so political, Howie. This is really a fear, though, don't you think, that people who are in TV and in the media themselves, like Bob Costas, are afraid that people won't be able to differentiate not being a fan of Caitlyn Jenner getting the award or being anti-LBGT?
Yes, I think there's a fear of a backlash that if you even say, gee, I don't think that was appropriate for the award to go to Caitlyn Jenner as opposed to somebody else, that you will be branded with that label of somehow being against lesbians, gays, transgender people, and that's a label that nobody wants.
But we can all agree that this worked and the ratings were great. And so, you know, I think ESPN and everybody won that had this as the ploy, correct?
Yeah, I guess the silver lining is maybe it does further the debate about the transformation that people go through. And obviously people without the resources and the celebrity and the reality show of Bruce Jenner face a much more difficult transition than now Caitlyn Jenner did.
Well, I appreciate your opinion because you, like all of us, have one about Caitlyn Jenner. So thank you so much. Come back.
Good to see you.
Sports Court is adjourned.